All right, so this is our Thursday regular Vinyasa class. So let's get her done. All right, so let's go ahead and come down into child's pose. For those of you just coming, we're getting a bolster and a block. If you use 2 blocks, go ahead and get 2. Looks like we didn't get any rain while I was gone, so it's a little bit drier. So just start coming into your breath. You feel more comfortable seated on your bolster for a minute or 2. That's okay. Then feel free to do that. As with all of our practices, make sure you listen to your own breath and your own body. Especially if you have something that's challenging you right now. Let's walk our hands over to the right side of the mat. You can place your left palm on top of the back of your right hand and then press the temple area on the left side into the earth. Not only feeling length in the spine, but depth in the side body. If even child's pose bothers your knee, Tammy, listen to that. Don't do child's pose if that brings you pain there. And then we'll bring our hands back to center. Crawl your fingertips out. And then just relax the whole forearm. Maybe even let your chest melt a bit into the mat. You could move to your chin instead of your forehead. And then we'll lift our head and walk our hands to the left. Every breath feeling the side body open. And then making your way back to center, we'll move up to hands and knees. Once you're up to your hands and knees in the quadruped, just take a couple of rotations in the quadruped, an organic movement. Starting to wake up the shoulders, the hips. And then come to neutral in a balanced quadruped, round into cat pose. And inhale to cow pose. Round into cat. And cow pose. We'll come to neutral in the spine and curl all 10 toes under. Finding your first down dog. We'll pedal our legs a little bit here. And then let's lift the right leg towards the sky. We're going to bend the knee, but we're not going to open the hips. So we leave our hips steady and we'll slightly lift our head. This is the scorpion pose, so it feels a little different. You might be feeling this a little more in the front of the right leg. Make sure you have a little softness behind the left knee. And then we'll drop the right foot back to the mat. If you need a little break here, come down to your knees. Take a couple of breaths here, especially if you're feeling like it's a lot in your upper body right away. And you could even modify scorpion starting on hands and knees instead. Left heel lifts to the sky. Then we'll bend the left knee, slightly lift your head. It's almost like you're gonna reach for the sole of the foot to the top of the head. You'll never get there, but just the idea of that reaching. Now let's drop the foot or the knee. We'll all come down to our knees, flatten the tops of your feet and slide your hips back. Modified child's pose. Some of you would prefer to have wide knees in your child's pose, so do that if that feels better for you. Let's rock our head left to right. And then we're going to lift back up. Bring both hands to the mat, all 10 toes, down dog. Inhale. With your exhale, look to your hands. Bring your hands towards your feet or your feet towards your hands. And then either come up onto fingertips for a flat back or have your hands to the front of your shins. And with that, lifting all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Forward fold as you exhale. Again, the halfway lift, bent knees, flat back. Forward fold, the crown of the head shining down. Take your gaze towards your feet and toe heel your feet to the width of your hips for Ragdoll Uttanasana. The arms can free fall to the earth, or you can grab opposite elbows. Just dump everything out. And then if your hands aren't draped down towards the earth, go ahead and do that so that you can heel toe your feet closer together from halfway lift. Inhale, mountain pose. We'll sit down into chair pose. We're going to take an open chair twist. So we'll take the right arm forward. The left arm could come to a T. We're trying to keep the hips and shoulders squared frontwards. Or you could take that left arm back. You could even let your gaze come over your left shoulder, but really trying to keep the hips facing forward. Now we'll switch out the arms. So if you have range of motion limitations, just take that right arm to the T instead. And now we'll bring both arms forward. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, release to forward fold. Bend your knees, the halfway lift, then we'll plant the hands. You could step your feet back to a plank pose, or you could lower your knees to a quadruped and then walk your hands forward to a knee down plank. You choose what's best for you. We'll come forward a tiny bit, and then we'll lower all the way down to chest and belly. Always make sure you really use caution there. Many of you will want to bring your knees down before you lower to the belly. Once there, we'll take cobra pose. Inhale up and exhale down. Let's curl all 10 toes under, take a breath in. And with your exhale, you can come to hands and knees and then down dog, or you could do that all in one motion. So really starting your practice listening to your body. With your next exhale, look to your hands, step, or you can float, hopping forward from the halfway lift, Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhale into chair. Want to skip any chair twisting or any kind of twisting if your back is bothering you. Bring your hands to your heart center. Lengthen through your spine with the inhale. And with your exhale, Twisting to either side. You can keep your hands at your heart. You could keep just the lower hand at your heart and lift the top, or you could open arms floor to sky. We still have lightness in our toes here. Maybe mentally say, are my hips lower than my heart? If they're not, maybe find that place. Let's bring our hands back to our heart center. We'll inhale all the way up to standing in mountain and sit down again in a chair. Hands to heart center here. Inhale, length. Exhale, twist. Any kind of arm position. Just making sure that you give yourself freedom to breathe easy and keeping lightness in the toes. We'll bring our hands back to heart center. Inhale to chair. Stay for the exhale. And then inhale to Tadasana, mountain pose. Swan dive, forward fold. Let's take our gaze towards our feet and open the feet to hip width and setting up for another ragdoll pose. So we want to bend the knees enough that the belly actually can almost touch or does touch the upper legs. I'd like you to start by just letting your arms free fall to the earth. And then we're going to take our hands to our sacrum, so back behind you. And you could just grab the fingers of one hand with the other. You can leave the hands setting on the sacrum, or you can start to float them away. And some of you may be even able to lengthen your elbows. So a little more depth in the shoulders and openness in the chest. And then we'll set the hands back to the sacrum. Before we release the hands, we want to bend the elbows and then release the hands down. We'll take our gaze towards the earth, toes and heels closer. Halfway lift, inhale Tadasana, mountain pose. All the way down, forward fold. From your halfway lift, you can come to hands and knees or hands and toes. You can go right to a place of ease here, or you can flow to get to a place of ease. You can always add additional strength to your flow by coming back to either low plank or belly to the mat right before down dog. We're going to make our way into warrior one. Some of you may want to start from down dog. Some of you may want to start from hands and knees. And anyway, the right foot is forward, the left heel seals to the mat. And we're in our first warrior one. So let's reach this warrior one out. This is the power warrior one. We're gonna take a little bit of challenges today from this pose, maybe possibly going into warrior three. Otherwise we would stay in this pose. But right now, let's bring our hands down to the mat and let the back heel lift. You can choose to leave that left knee lifted, or you could drop it down as a modification. The hands could be on the earth, or if you use blocks, you could put those on the mat. The left hand will stay grounded to the earth or the block. The right arm comes to a T or can lift up. If you started from down dog, you could drop your hips another inch here. So you're really starting to get into the depth of the hamstring. And now let's lower that right hand. Many of you will want to go ahead and drop your left knee because we're going to try lifting our arms up here. So I'm going to walk my right foot a little closer to my right hand, giving myself a little more base for my crescent warrior. So if you're feeling like this is too much, you would bring your hands back down, lower the knee, and then lift your arms up. or you could start from that point. One more breath. We'll drop the hands back down. Lower the left knee. Right knee meets left knee. If the blocks seem in your way, you could move them out or just leave them there. Flatten the tops of your feet and slide your hips back. Modified child's pose or wide knee child's pose. Let's take a bend to the elbows so we can really feel a release and an openness between the shoulder blades. Gently turn your head left to right. And then finally we'll come back up to hands and knees. And you can start from here, finding warrior one on the left side, or you can pop into down dog. So the left foot is coming forward, the right heel seals to the mat, and we found our warrior one here. Hips and shoulders square to the front. It's really important not to lock out the back of your right knee. We'll power this out. This could be a really little movement or it could be great big, you choose. Just holding this for one more breath. And then we'll drop our hands down, letting the back heel lift. You can always put blocks onto your mat here. You could lower your right knee first. We're gonna leave our right hand grounded, the left arm to a T or all the way up. If you started in down dog, you have space to drop your hips just a little bit deeper towards the earth. Start to drop that left hand back down. I'm gonna move my left foot a little closer to my left hand because I'm choosing to leave my right knee lifted. Certainly there's the option to drop the right knee down. This is the crescent warrior, so we're lifting up here. It could be a knee down version. Listen to your body, not your ego. One more breath. Dropping the hands down. Right knee comes to the mat if it's not already. Left knee meets right knee. You can move your blocks out if you have them. And you can leave your knees where they are or you can move them wide, child's pose. I like to soften my elbows. You don't have to do that if you like the feeling of the reaching arms. And then we'll come back up. Curl 10 toes under, down dog. Right heel lifts to the sky. Step the right foot forward. We're gonna leave the left heel lifted. So the hands are down here. You might bring those blocks back onto the mat if you like. We're gonna extend the right leg to the degree that you can in the ground or the standing pyramid pose. Standing grounded pyramid. So we want to think about the right hip pressing towards the back of your mat and the left hip reaching forward. One more breath. Let's bend into the right knee. Step the left foot forward. You can leave the blocks where they are. Inhale, Tadasana Mountain Pose. Exhale, forward fold. Taking that to the opposite side, the left foot steps back. Maybe the left foot's a little off center to the left side. Hands are on the blocks or the earth. Extend the left leg to the degree you can. Left hip is pressing back. Right hip is reaching forward. Where's your gaze in the pyramid pose? Towards your shin, so you're keeping length in the neck. Bend into the left knee. Step the right foot forward. If you have blocks, go ahead and move them out. Inhale all the way up to standing in mountain pose. And let's sit down into chair pose again, because it's our favorite pose. No comment, right? So let's take a breath in. We'll sink just a little deeper into our chair. If that's not right for your knees or your physical body, just stay where it feels okay for you. You can always bring your hands to heart center instead. So we're just really bringing the physicality of this heat building pose, Uttanasana. One more breath. And finally, we find ease, forward fold. Halfway lift, hands plant, feet step back. You can drop down to your knees right away, or you can stay in plank pose. You can flow here or go right to ease. Let your breath lead your body. With your next exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale all the way up to standing in mountain pose, and bring your hands to your heart center. Now we're going to do a standing pyramid. So the right foot forward, left foot back. Both legs are lengthened here, so we don't have as big of a distance between front and back foot. Your hands could be at your hips, fisted, or you could have your hands bound behind you. But let's keep bent elbows to start. The right leg is lengthened to your degree. Take a breath in. With your exhale, it could be a little tip or a great big tip. Many of you are probably looking at your foot. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit, you could bring your gaze to your shin instead. And now let's have bent elbows and let our hands come down to the earth. This is where blocks could come into play. You could bring the left block underneath your left hand. You don't need your right block at this point. We'll leave the left hand grounded to the earth or the block. The right arm could come to a T, or it could lift up. This is the revolved triangle pose. You may need to bend your right knee, you may need to lift your left heel, you may need to do both of those things. Keep breathing. And now let's lower the right hand. If you have the left block, you can go ahead and move it out. Then we'll bend the right knee and step the left foot forward. Come back to a chair pose, or a halfway lift, I should say. And then inhale all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Bring your hands to your heart center. Let's leave that left foot forward and take the right foot back. Both legs are lengthened here. Hips and shoulders squared. You could have hands on hips, moderate. You could have bound arms here. You could have namaste prayer hands, or you could just grab the fingers of one hand with the other. So there's lots of options here. Take a breath in. With your exhale, it could be a little tiny tip forward or the great big tip. Where does the balance challenge come into play? It's really with your gaze. So your gaze may be at your foot. Maybe switch your gaze to your shin. You'll feel like there's lots of stuff that has to fire in order to keep your balance, but keep steady and easy in your breath. And now let's go ahead and release our hands down to kind of frame that front foot. If you use blocks, you could bring the block underneath your right hand and place the block there, or you could be directly on the earth. The left arm could open to a T or lift up. You may need to bend your left knee, you may need to lift your right heel, or even both. Begin to lower the left hand down. Now we'll start to bend the left knee. Bring the right foot forward. If you're in this chair pose and you want to get rid of any blocks, do that now. Inhale all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, either hands and knees or hands and toes. We're just going to hang on to our plank for a little bit here. So either knee down plank or full body plank. And we're just going to go forward and back, forward. You can skip this if your body's saying too much. And then one more time. Let's all drop our knees to the mat if they're not already, and flatten the tops of your feet. You could take traditional child's pose or the modified child's pose. Some people don't like the modified child's pose because there's really a lot of compression into the belly area with that. I like to do it even though I have plenty of things going on there, but I like the openness in my back. Now let's come back up to hands and knees, and then we're going to drop down onto our forearms. So we're in a forearm quadruped, so to speak. You can stay right here. So the elbows are right underneath the shoulders, and the palms are flat to the earth. You can stay right here. If you're not sure if your elbows are positioned correctly, if you extend your fingers long, they should come to the outside, very outside edge, the tip of the fingers to the opposite elbow. Then you can reposition your forearms so palms are down. And then line your neck up to your spine. You can stay right here or curl 10 toes under and hover the knees a little bit, or even extend the legs fully into dolphin pose. Also called an elbow down dog. So when you're in this pose, you have the ability to maybe press your forearms towards the top of the mat, in essence kind of pressing your sit bones up, your chest between your knees. Come down to your knees anytime you feel like you need a break. If you're okay with the physicality, you can start to hover your knees over the mat. Take a breath in there. And then exhale, lengthen the legs, finding more depth in the shoulders. Let's all start to drop our knees to the mat. Once the knees are down to the mat, then we'll walk our hands out. And this is the puppy dog pose. So we're up on our knees, but our arms are reached out, the forehead is down. This is our puppy dog. Different from down dog in that we're not on our feet, we're on our knees instead. If you'd like to take this deeper into opening through the front body, you could bring your chin to the mat, melting your heart, called melting heart. If it's too deep in your shoulders, you could take cactus arms or a modification of cactus arms first. Great opportunity here to feel and hear your Ujjayi breath. And now we'll bring the forehead to the mat. Let's start to bend our elbows so we can bring them more to a cactus shape. Then we'll press into the palm of the hand and use the strength of the arms to lift back up to hands and knees. Let's find a neutral down dog position. And then let's lift the right leg up to the sky here. Step the right foot forward, warrior one. You could always start from hands and knees instead. We'll open up to warrior two, letting the right knee continue to track towards the pinky toe. Reverse your warrior. And with your exhale, side angle pose, either right elbow to the knee or extending the hand down. The left arm could bind behind your back or lift up to the sky. We really want to feel an openness in the heart here. If you would like to take the power version of the side angle pose, let's lift that left arm up, angle it over the left ear, and then match the right arm to the angle of the left. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Start to give support again with that lower arm. Left arm lifts up, let's all lift that left arm up, and then come back to warrior two. Reverse your warrior, and then just coming back down. This is where you could flow. You could go immediately into a pose of complete rest here. You can add additional strength to your flow. And take 1 or 2 more breaths in down dog or hands and knees or child's pose. When you're ready, moving to the left side, warrior one. Open to warrior two, reverse warrior, any version of side angle pose. It could be bound arms, it could be a lifted right arm. Really let your heart shine out here. If you'd like to take the power version of side angle, the right arm lifts, then angles over the right ear, and then the left arm matches the angle of the right. Bring the lower arm back for a little support. Right arm lifting up, warrior two, reverse warrior, and then finding your way back. Either flowing or skipping the flow. Let's bring our knees back down to the mat. Either moving your knees wide or keeping them where they are. Let's take all the weight off the upper body, fully release through the shoulders. Give yourself a chance to reset your breath. Slowing everything down. And now we'll come back up to hands and knees and find down dog. Whether or not you like to find warrior one from the down dog position or from hands and knees, we're going to find warrior one on the right side. And then as promised, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do a warrior three. Many of you will just stay in the power warrior. So we're going to reach this out. If you want to do warrior three, you start to lift the left heel, maybe dragging the toes, and see if you can lift that left leg. Okay, let's see how this goes. One more breath. If you're feeling like you need to crash down, you could bring your hands down, or you could try to lower your left foot with the hands lifted. So now we all have the left toes down. Let's step the left foot forward. From the halfway lift, inhale all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Coming to hands and knees or hands and toes. You can find your way to ease right away, or you can flow to get there. Give yourself a chance to really connect to your breath where you can find some sense of ease in it. And then when you're ready, taking warrior one on the left side. The power warrior one is just as good as the warrior three, so please remember that. Let's reach this out. If you want to try warrior three, we're bringing the weight into that left leg and lifting the right toes. Now you can land your right foot again or bring your hands down first and then lower your right foot. So we're all kind of in that runner's lunge. Let's lower the right knee, lower the left knee, And then take a moment to just fully recover here. Child's pose or modified. Listening to your breath. Great job, you guys. I'd like everyone to come up to hands and knees. And then we're just gonna all walk our hands forward till we're in a knee down plank. Then we'll let the elbows start to open and see if we can lower down to our belly without pulling at the front of the shoulders. So using the strength of the arms and the core. Once you're all the way down, stack your hands. You could let your chin, your forehead, or the temple area rest on your hand pillow. Just a chance to really slow down the breath. You may feel a little sweaty when you do a vinyasa class. You can turn your head the other way or not. And then we're going to come to a Sphinx pose. So the Sphinx pose is where you have your elbows right below your shoulders, but your forearms are extended in front with the palms down. This is the Sphinx pose. So if you're going, this is too much of a back bend for me, then you would press into your palms, open your elbows a little bit, and take a little wider so that the elbows are actually wider than the shoulders. If you can keep them in, we're just feeling this back bend. You can stay right here, or if you'd like a little bit of a core challenge, I always turn my hands like I have little ice picks in my hands, but not a hard grip. And then you could lift your knees. So you're in the knee down elbow plank, or you could curl 10 toes under and find the full body elbow plank. Once you've found that, try to soften your hands. So no more ice picks, just you let them go, but you're just holding this position. And we're breathing here. The elbow plank, I think, is actually harder than the full arm plank. If you're in the toes here, you could drop the right knee and tap, lift it up, left knee, right knee, left knee. If your back's hurting, don't do it. Right, left. One more tap on each side if you started there. And then we'll hold our plank one more breath. Drop your knees, drop your belly, place your palms towards the mat, flatten the tops of your feet, press into your palms, lift your elbows, open your elbows, and then drop your chest. Anytime we do core strengthening, our body starts to breathe a little deeper. So now we're just giving ourselves a little space to just find an easier breath. And let's go ahead and finish the back bending series. As long as we're already here on our belly, we're going to take our arms out. If your arms don't like to go out, that's okay, you don't have to do that. We're going to take Superman pose. So Superman could be as simple as lifting your head. You could keep your extended arms, including palms down. Or you could float just the upper body. Or you could float the feet as well. So when we're in Superman, the tendency is to point the toes. Let's try to leave softness through that part of the body. Modifications are to bring the upper arms or the feet down. One more breath. And then we'll drop everything down, including the chin. If it feels more restorative for you, take your arms to cactus shape. Breathe. And now let's take our arms alongside our body, and we'll have the palms resting down. If this is not working for your shoulders, then you can find something different that feels safe for your shoulders. And we're gonna take Superwoman. So it may be just lifting your head, a little bit of your chest, or it could be including the arms and the legs. Softness through the feet as much as you can. One more breath. And now let's release that down. Lower your chin to the mat. And then I'd like you to just take goalpost-shaped arms and lay the side of your head on the mat, like the cheek and everything, if you can. If that doesn't feel safe for your neck, it's okay if you have your chin on the mat instead. Now we're going to take our arms and let them be alongside our body with the palms facing up. Again, if that feels funky in your shoulders, we would skip this. So the arms aren't right alongside your body because they won't let you. They have a bend in the elbow. We're thinking about reaching the front of our shoulders towards the earth. It's like you're spreading apart your shoulder blades, between the space between them. Very restorative for the back. If you'd like to turn your head the other way, still reaching the front of the shoulders towards the earth, neutralizing the space between the shoulder blades. And now we'll bring the chin to the mat. We'll bring our hands next to the chest, out about 4 or 5 inches, using strong arms, strong core to lift yourself back up. Once you're back up to hands and knees, we're going to take a little bit of a challenge in doing either very modified push-ups here, just it could be from the quadruped. The next version would be to walk your hands forward, tuck your butt down, and take the knee down push-ups. If your body is not allowing you to do push-ups at all, please accept that and take modification here or skip it altogether. If you're feeling super strong and you want to take the full body push-ups, you may do that. When you start to feel like you have to tuck your chin towards your chest, that usually means that you need to back off to a more modified place. Wherever you are, do one more. And then if your knees are lifted, lower them. If you're on your belly, let's come up to hands and knees. And we're just gonna pause here. We don't want our knees right together. So we're in a very balanced quadruped. We're gonna take a cat pose really slow. Really slow. And then a cow pose. Neutral in the spine. Curl 10 toes under. Take a breath in. And with a really long and intentional exhale, lengthen your legs to find down dog. Feel your spine lengthen here. You might need to reposition your feet once you find down dog. And now you can look to your hands, begin to step forward. You can always bring your feet closer to your hands closer to your feet. You don't have to walk your feet all the way up, but let's find the halfway lift so we can safely move all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Bring your hands to your heart center. And now let's take a few tree poses. So I'm gonna let you kind of have free range of what you'd like to do here. So you can always use the wall. You could do one leg tree, or I mean all trees are one leg, but your tree could be more modified than that. So find grounding into the supporting leg by really connecting 4 points on your foot. the opposite foot to the ankle, to the inner calf, or all the way up. You can use your hands to position the foot if that helps you, and then find your breath here. Once you've really connected to your breath, you can take any kind of arms you want. You could be a Christmas tree. You could lift the arms up. You could take your drishti up to the sky if you like. And then you can start to reverse, coming back to your heart center, and then returning both feet to the mat. Once you have both feet on the mat, if you're at the wall, face the center of the room for just a moment, so you can kind of flop your arms from left to right and really feel release, and kind of symbolizing just like letting go. And then we'll find grounding into the opposite foot. So turn around if you're at the wall. The heel is first, and then just uncurling the rest of the foot. The opposite foot could be at the ankle, the inner calf, or using the hands to walk the foot up. Grounding in. Maybe hands start at heart center. There may be a little wiggling here. Try not to fight that, but just let it flow. If you fall out of balance, you can start again. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. Or you can modify back to a more modified foot position. So just listening to your body and any kind of arms. And then bringing your hands back to your heart for one final breath. And release everything out. Let's go ahead and come back to the top of our mat. Just a little bit of a balance and challenge and balance. So when I start doing tree pose, or chair yoga, I want you to know, should you decide to take it, that we might use the chair for balance. So just imagine that your tree is here. So we still try to bring strength and balance even in our chair class. Once you're to the standing position, we're going to let our feet be a little bit wider apart. And then we'll keep our elbows closed, but let our arms go out a bit. So I call this the platter arms. And you can stay right here. You can close your eyes if you like, and try to take the sole of your right foot to your ankle. So the sole of the foot is resting at the inner ankle. The heel may be above the ankle. So what we're trying to do is find the center of our body through just awareness and balance. The hands aren't showing us where the center is. They're out away, but we're feeling the center through awareness and breath. One more breath. And then you can release that out. You can bring both feet down. If you're not feeling loose enough, shake that out a bit. And then we'll take that on the other side. Some of you may like to close your eyes first. Some of you may like to find the feet first. I almost feel like finding the closed eyes allows you to trace it a little bit more, but you do what feels right for you. And then let's go ahead and release.
And just another thing with the chair yoga. I don't know, you guys have probably taken chair yoga with Tracy. She's an excellent teacher. I love her. She's very, very gifted. When I teach chair yoga, I will kind of read the room a little bit. So we may be doing chairs holding onto a chair. We may be doing warrior 3 holding onto a chair. So I just want you to know that there is physicality in it if that's what people want. If there's people that don't want to get out of a chair, I'll have modifications for that too. So let's come back to the top of our mat. We'll sweep our arms up. Release to forward fold. Watch, very careful with the low back here. Let your low back release a bit. Let the crown of your head shine down. Even if you have to bend your knees a lot, that's okay. And then we're gonna make our way down onto our knees. And then place the palms of the hands down. Let's curl the toes under and find down dog. We're gonna take a half pigeon. If half pigeon works for you, you can take the traditional half pigeon. If you don't like that, then you come to your back, and I'll talk you through that. So the half pigeon, we would lift the right foot, bend the right knee, bring it all the way under your body, and place it inside of your right thumb. Then lower your left knee, top of the left foot lowers, and this is your half pigeon. So you can start to lower down if you like. If you're like, this is not right for me, and you have to be really careful with knees, hips, all of it. You can start to lower down there if you feel like not gonna work. Then we'll take from our back the right ankle to the left knee. And you could interlace your hands behind the left leg. You don't have to. You could use core strength here even if you're on your back, and just pick up the left foot and work that right hip a little bit. So there's so many different ways to do our poses. If you're in half pigeon, there is an opportunity in half pigeon, especially if you've lowered down to your elbows or forearms. You could take a thread the needle here, and you might be saying, well, do I thread the right arm in front because my right knee's front, or do I thread the left arm? It kind of depends on what you feel you might want to do. I usually take the right arm, but if you don't feel like you have space there, you could do the left arm instead. There's no rules. But it does give you a little more depth in your hip, believe it or not. We always want to keep that left hand there, or the opposite hand, palm down, so that we don't go too deep into the shoulder. That is just an option, or you can have goalpost arms, just bringing the forehead down, no twisting at all. I want you to scan through your body and come to your right hip. Your next exhale, you're just releasing that hip to the depth that you're able to. Never approaching pain, but definitely finding the edge of intensity. Every breath eases that intensity. If you're in half pigeon, you'll begin to come up to long arms. Many of you will go ahead and come back into down dog here. If you want to challenge the quad of that back leg, you could bend that back knee and kind of reach the heel towards your butt, or even reach back and draw it in. There's a pose that you could bring the toe to the bend of your elbow and maybe reach your fingers together. You used to be able to do it. That's called the mermaid pose. It's very deep. Let's all find our way back to down dog. Even if you're in down dog and you want to just come to hands and knees for a moment, or child's pose, give yourself grace to do that. If you're on your back, drop both knees into your heart and just enjoy that. Maybe rocking gently left to right. Those in down dog will pedal their legs a little bit. And then we're gonna find half pigeon or figure four on the other side. So if you're gonna do half pigeon, you would lift the left heel up, then bend the left knee, draw it under the body towards the left thumb, then lower your right knee so your hips and shoulders are squared forward. Top of the foot flattens. And then bending the elbows just to your degree. You can always use a block. Lots of different ways to do this. You can stay on the forearms, you can stay on long arms, or you could thread the needle here. If you're threading the needle, keep the opposite palm on the mat so you don't go too deep into your shoulders. And if you get there and go, I think I should be threading the needle the other way, you can always take that switch. And you might get stuck like I just did. Let's take 2 more full breaths wherever you are. And then you can begin to come to long arms. You can come to down dog right away, or you can bend your right knee. You could even reach back with your right hand and draw the heel up. This is a super deep quad stretch, so please be careful. And then we're all gonna find our way to a seated position, maybe from down dog, maybe from your back. We're coming up to seated. And then I'll check the time. Wow, guess what? Class is over, no, but it is pretty much. So let's all just take a moment to sit with breath. Let your palms rest down on your knees. I really want us to amplify the awareness of grounding here. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. Let your spine feel lengthened and supported. And now let's open our eyes. You can bring the bolster or the block for your final little inversion. So roll onto your back. You can either take the bolster underneath your hips, or some people prefer the block. And then let's just let the legs rest above the hips. And let our upper body be fully released here, either T, goalpost, or hands resting on the ribs. Just letting all the physicality of Vinyasa drain into the pelvis and into the core body, where it's disseminated and distributed through waste. And we're freeing our body of the lactic acid that we build through the physical practice. Feel free to stay with your legs up. If you'd like to find something a bit more restorative, you can bring your feet down. You could even leave your hips elevated here, just have your feet down to feel totally released. Or you can move the bolster out and come completely down to the earth. Feel free to take butterfly legs or extended legs or feet on the floor. Wherever you are, I'd like everyone to try to bring their hands just to their rib cage area and see if you can just through the tips of your fingers detect your heartbeat a little bit. If you can't find it, that's okay, you're still alive. And then we're just gonna take 3 more breaths, seeing if we can actually slow down the beating of the heart to a slower place. You know, whether your hips are still elevated or not, let's bring the knees together if they're not. You can leave the hips on the bolster or the block if you like. We'll walk our feet to the outer edges of the mat. It might be more comfortable if you release your hips directly to the earth from the block or the bolster. And then we'll just windshield wiper our knees from left to right. So just that final release through the side body, all the stretches, the twists. And then we'll draw our knees into our heart one last breath here. Maybe lifting your head and shoulders, wind releasing pose. And then lowering the head and shoulders. You can make your way up to seated. If you're on the block still, bring your feet down, move it away. And then once we're up to seated, we'll all bring our hands to our heart center. Take a breath in and exhale out. We'll bring our thumbs to third eye with light, with love, and with the strength and unity that we share. Namaste. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Chris, could I make an announcement when the thing is on?
Sure. You want me to turn it off? You mean? Okay.
It's very personal.
Okay. All right.